Yeah. For those of you that wanna know what we're all about, it's like this, y'all. This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% reason to remember the name.
I'm Billy Ray Small.
Take those damn teeth out.
I'm Kenny Small.
I'm Ryan Zeller.
And these are 50 reasons why you might be a redneck. Starting with number 1.
If you own a home that is mobile and 5 cars that aren't, you might be a redneck.
If you think the stock market has a fence around it, you might be a redneck.
If the Salvation Army declines your mattress, you might be a redneck.
You ever hit a deer with your car deliberately? You might be a redneck.
If you have the local taxidermist number on speed dial, you might be a redneck.
If there are more than 5 McDonald's bags in your car, you might be a redneck.
If people hear your car a long time before they see it, you might be a redneck.
If the gas pedal on your vehicle is a bare foot, you might be a redneck.
If you own more than 3 shirts with cut-off sleeves on it, you might be a redneck.
If directions to your house include turn off to the paved road, you might be a redneck.
If you ever lost a tooth opening a beer bottle, you might be a redneck.
If your dog and your wallet both have chains, you might be a redneck.
If Jack Daniels makes your list of most admired people, you might be a redneck.
If you have a hefty bag where a window should be on your car, you might be a redneck.
If your brother-in-law is also your uncle, you might be a redneck.
If you bought a VCR because wrestling comes on while you're at work, you might be a redneck.
If you view the next family reunion as a chance to meet girls, you might be a redneck.
If your auto truck is made by John Deere, you might be a redneck.
If you think suspenders are a type of t-shirt, you might be a redneck.
If you honestly think that women are turned on by animal noises, you might be a redneck.
Ow, ow, ow!
Meh, meh.
The only condiment on your dining table is one from fast food places, you might be a redneck.
If you use the term "gear gun" more than once a month, you might be a redneck.
If your idea of a 7-course meal is a bucket of chicken from KFC and a 6-pack, you might be a redneck.
If the first words out of your mouth every time you see a friend are, "Howdy, hey, how y'all doing?" you might be a redneck.
If you have a very special baseball cap just for a formal occasion, you might be a redneck.
If you have more than 2 brothers named Bubba or Junior, you might be a redneck.
If you can change the oil on your truck without dunking your head, you might be a redneck.
If you think the styrofoam cooler is the greatest invention ever, you might be a redneck.
If 3/4 of your clothes have logos on them, you might be a redneck.
If the biggest fashion risk you take is which plaid shirt you should wear to the 4-H fair, you might be a redneck.
If you have been fired from a construction job because of your appearance, you might be a redneck.
If someone in your family says, "Come over here and look at it before I go flush it," you might be a redneck.
If your wife weighs more than your refrigerator, you might be a redneck.
If when you see a sign that says "Say no to crack" and that reminds you to pull up your pants, you might be a redneck.
If you have a picture of Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson, or Elvis above your fireplace, you might be a redneck.
If "Honey, are the lights out? Is the door locked? Is the parking brake set?" what you hear before you and your wife make love, you might be a redneck.
If you wake up with a black eye and a hickey, you might be a redneck.
If your father encouraged you to quit school because Larry's got an opening to selling tractors, you might be a redneck.
If you have spent more money on your pickup truck than your education, you might be a redneck.
If your belt buckle weighs more than 3 pounds, you might be a redneck.
If you saved lots of money on your honeymoon by going deer hunting, you might be a redneck.
If you think the last words to the Star Spangled Banner are "Gentlemen, start your engines," you might be a redneck.
If you own more cowboy boots than sneakers, you might be a redneck.
If your idea of talking during sex is "Ain't no cars coming, baby," you might be a redneck.
If you come home from the garbage dump with one more than you went with, you might be a redneck.
If you can't get married to your sweetheart because there's a law against it, you might be a redneck.
If on your first date you had to ask your dad to borrow the keys to the tractor, you might be a redneck.
If on your job application under sex you put "as often as possible," you might be a redneck.
If Larry the Cable Guy is your favorite actor, you might be a redneck.
If you can't watch this video and make a phone call at the same time, you might be a redneck.
If you own
If you ever
If you own 3 or more, cut off.
You ever hit a deer with your car? Shit.
If you
If you bought a VCR because wrestling comes on, good. If someone,
Oh, you're doing it?
I was gonna do it again, right?
Okay.
I thought everyone in the room was clear of that.
Okay. If you come home from the garbage dump with one more than you went with. If the only condiments on your dining room table is
Oh, come on, I can't do that during the take. I'm keeping that, Ryan. This hurts my lip. Alright? It's hurting. We kicked your ass in cross country. You can put that back over there, Ryan. That'd be great.
Where is that?
Right over yonder. I got half the time I'm drinking and I'm spitting.
Whose teeth could possibly fit in these things?
This beef jerky is really good.
Hawaiian punch.
I was like, well, you can't really see it. It actually looks kind of like a beer. It's fake. Mine's real. I got a library card. Can I go some Facebook? This is the best jokes I got. I mean, come on. That's pretty good. You guys are assholes. This is the radio. Girls turned on by goats. Did that turn you on when I did that?
Yes.
Ryan, give me 5 minutes. Maybe 3. You don't go to Walmart.
Scroll down.
Oh, sorry.
Don't you have to get under your truck anyways to change the oil? To do a
Ryan.
legit job?
Ryan, I don't know a damn thing about a
think
car.
so.
I know a car has 4 wheels and a steering wheel. Wait, so that's 5 wheels. I like to do this. I don't think I've done this for you. Every time, well, this is back when I had the Camaro. How cool it was! I'd always be like, "Yeah, I got a 482 under the hood." Because you just say any number and girls think it's a car part. Like I got a 1342 under there. I tried that line on a girl one time who knew a lot about cars. I was just like, she's like, "Oh, that's a nice car." I'm like, "Yeah, I got 14.2 underneath." She's like, "That's not even a real thing." But if I would have said that to you, would you believe me?
Yeah, I don't know
See?
anything about it.
Sweet.
I got an 8.5 under the hood.
Awesome.
Okay, he does an accent, but no one makes my age.
Mine sounds better.
But I want a cartoon version of a redneck. I mean, I don't know. Ryan's redneck's better voice. Your redneck voice is better than mine.
I think it's the chew.
Give me some dip, Ryan. I don't know if I'm rednecky enough. Never hold your gun like this.
Like that one.
Literally, the kill guy sucks. 49 I wrote, thank you. If I were you, don't look at the screen, Ryan. I don't really spit. That's acting for you. Go ahead, Ryan.
So look how much he puts in compared to your little pinch.
That's because I got little girly hands, right? There, I said it.
There you go.
I love you, blue so loca.
Next week, on the season finale of 50 Things.
50 tips for girls about guys.
And these are 50 tips for guys about girls.
Why is everyone laughing? It's true, but you don't have to laugh about it.
What's one thing if you could change about me that you'd change?
Like physically?
Nervous?
Yeah.
Nerds.